This is TWiT.
Is it illegal for Americans to post drone footage on YouTube? The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, sent a legal notice to a drone enthusiast named Jayson Hanes, informing him that he was breaking the law. The reason is that because YouTube is monetized through advertising, any drone footage indicates the flying of the drone in the first place was a commercial use of drones, which currently requires special permission. We learned about this story from a feature on Motherboard by Jason Kebler. Welcome to you, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Now, I assume that hundreds or thousands of drone videos are posted on YouTube every single day. Why was Jayson Hanes called out by the FAA?
So I think Jayson was probably called out because he was flying a bit unsafe. He was flying above a lot of people and that sort of thing. So basically what happened was the FAA sent him a letter from a safety inspector saying that his videos had been monetized, which is illegal according to the FAA. You can kind of get into semantics there about whether a court would agree with that or not, whether there are actually regulations. But what happened was they said, hey, you're operating commercially. You can't do this.
So he says that he himself has never gotten any money from posting these videos on YouTube. Do you think that the FAA is essentially using a loophole? Or, I mean, their letter seemed pretty clear. Like, we took a serious look at your website. There's advertising on it. We feel that this is commercial. Do you think that that's a ruse, or do you think that they really are trying to keep people from flying under the radar, so to speak, with commercial operations?
Right. That's why this is so problematic. It's been a smokescreen, this idea of commercial flight versus hobby flight being inherently subject to more regulations. What happened here was this guy is not a commercial operator whatsoever. He does what lots of other people do. He takes videos and then he puts them on YouTube, and he happened to turn on advertising. The problem here is the video is already taken. The flight is done. There's no safety risk afterwards, after the fact of turning on advertising or not. And there's huge kind of like First Amendment implications on if you're gonna start saying when and who can make money off of certain videos. So I think that's why it kind of struck a chord with a lot of people. Saw a lot of reporting saying the FAA is saying you have to take down videos on YouTube and that sort of thing. That's not what's happening. It's I think maybe a mistake by the FAA to go after this guy because there are such huge implications, but they should have, if it was a safety concern, they should have made that clear from the get-go and not mention the commercial use whatsoever.
Now, you talked to the FAA. What do they tell you?
So it's very hard to get clear answers from the FAA, but surprisingly this time they said they're going to investigate it, their DC headquarters. And what that kind of signals to me, I'm certainly speculating here, but I've dealt with them a lot, and usually the answer is no comment. We don't want to talk about it. The answer here was we're investigating, which I think what may have happened was a regional safety inspector basically, I don't want to say overstepped his bounds, but perhaps used the wrong language in a letter here saying, you know, there's commercial concern with you posting on YouTube. Which, as I mentioned, you can then apply to thousands of other people. So I think they're going to look into it, and I don't know if they're going to come out with a statement or not, but I would imagine that this will end soon, and they'll say, you know, you can post things on YouTube.
Looks like we lost Lindsay temporarily. We're going to Skype her back, and thank you, Skype. They do it to us every single episode. All right, you're back, Lindsay. Go ahead. You had a question, I believe.
And so I'm curious about the issues surrounding the privacy of the folks who are in the shot, right? If he's making money from this at all, my question is, does he need to be getting permission from the people who are showing up essentially as extras in these flights? And I know that they're not super commercial, they're hobbyists, but yet I can see if you are standing on that beach, you're getting caught up in this, it might be something concerning.
Right. I mean, it's certainly a concern, but, lots of people take photos, in public spaces with DSLR cameras or with, their cell phones and then make money off of it, whether they actually blur someone's face or not. is kind of beside the point in a lot of cases, at least. I mean, obviously you have to sign a release if you're going to be used in like a commercial, and you're kind of informed, hey, we might be filming here or what have you. But in this case, there's certainly privacy concerns, but I don't think that this is really privacy related at all.
What kind of fines is Jayson facing if the FAA is really serious and if he doesn't comply with whatever it is they're asking him to comply with?
Well, in the past, the FAA tried to fine a guy named Rafael Perker $10,000. That case was eventually settled out of court for about $2,000, I believe. And that was after a very long legal process, a very kind of frustrating one for the FAA, because there was a period there where precedent was set where all commercial flights were legal that they didn't really enjoy. But I wouldn't expect them to proceed here because, as I mentioned, there's serious First Amendment implications, and I think it's a fight the FAA doesn't want to fight.